because we're really excited about that. And I know we can do it. We only have like how many more days? Like 30, no, not
Yeah,
even
just a couple
30.
weeks.
Yeah, to do
Yeah,
it.
and yeah, and the cool thing is we're sitting at 62%. Our next closest region is at 58, so we're still leading the way. And since Kara's on the line, I can tell you that we're beating her region. They're only at 46%. So sorry about that, but we remain number one in the listing challenge. So great job to all you guys. And I will ask Courtney. Courtney, you know what the one snowman asked the other snowman? Do you smell carrots? All right.
You did that one last week, Dennis.
Oh man, I've never
You
used
need
one
some new
twice.
material.
I will. I'll have to think of it. Well, why didn't you know the answer then? You just don't listen, do you? Okay.
No.
And then
All
I
right.
told my
So,
Santa motorcycle one, remember?
yep, yep. All right. Well, that's all I got for you then. If I can't come up with a new one, I'm just done.
You're gonna have to pull out your toolkit of jokes next time, Dennis. We're gonna need
Yep,
some New Year's jokes
yep.
coming. I know,
I'm
right?
on it. I'm on it. Yep. All right. Y'all have fun. I'll listen in.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Well, happy Monday. Today's my favorite day because we get to do tool time. And it's my favorite thing to do is get to spend some time with all of you. We're going to be going over Moxi presentations today. We've gone through the Moxi suite in our past tool time. So we've already done websites, Impress, and Engage. So we're now on Moxi Present, which this one we've had for a while. So a lot of you are familiar with it, but I'm not sure if you've been in there since the new listing presentation has become live. So we're going to talk about the new listing presentation. I'm going to walk through creating one. And then I'm also going to show you some key things that you have on desk that can help you with your listing presentations. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. Can you see it?
Yeah, we got it.
You got it.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So first things first, if you've never done a listing presentation or you're a little weary walking through our new listing presentation once we complete it, there is a script that they've created that walks through each of the different slides in the listing presentation. So I want to show you where to download that so you have it. This is great for you managers if you're onboarding new agents that don't have the confidence yet and really, doing a listing presentation. I know many of you guys go on the first listing presentation with your agents, but this is just a great thing to have in your toolkit, as well as for seasoned agents, right? It's always great to look at the language and the things that the company has prepared for you and kind of see how it would be positioned in a corporate setting. So if you go to the marketing tab on the left-hand side of desk, where I like to joke and say we hide dead bodies because we do, right under the prospecting tab, there is the listing presentation. So it says pre-listing presentations. It's got before you go to the listing presentations, basically you can do a pre-listing presentation. It has it horizontal in English and in Spanish. And then it's also got the seller presentations in English and Spanish too. So for anyone who is Spanish speaking that is actually trying to present these listing presentations in Spanish, they are now available for you on desk in Spanish to your clientele, which is great. Same thing with the buyer presentation. If you come down here, you also have a couple different scripts too. You have Words That Work scripts. You've got the new development template, a FSBO seller first letter, and a daily activity planner to keep you organized. So I always like to point our new agents that onboard us into this little prospecting tab because it has some really great things to help them get started. So if I scroll up to the seller presentation, I'm going to click on the script book right here, and it's going to bring up the script. I'm going to take a minute, and it's going to go literally page by page. So suggestions for using this guide: conducting an effective listing presentation, practice, practice, practice. It gives you the cover page and your introduction. So simple dialogue or sample dialogue. Dear seller and seller's name, I want to begin to thank you, right? Like it literally goes line by line on the presentation. This thing is a whopping 27 pages that gives you sample dialogue, as well as like bullet points that you can go ahead and say. So we do have a lot of agents sometimes that feel like they obviously are equipped to be a real estate professional because they've got their license, they passed their tests, they're great maybe in their past life at different things, but maybe they're their niche really isn't speaking to these presentations. Maybe it's overwhelming, or it's something that just seems a little daunting. This is a great resource for them to just kind of take a look at. And again, for you seasoned agents that are on here, maybe there's some things that you haven't thought about, right? Maybe there's some things that you didn't even know that we did. Or maybe there's some things that you've just, maybe had in your toolkit and then forgot about them and want to go back to talking through it. So this is a really great guide for you guys. You can download this as a PDF to your computer and print it out and just have it with you. Obviously, we don't want to sound like robots, so I would not advise you to take this script and read it line by line and memorize it. I would put it into your own language. This is really just a guide and a template. I don't feel like I have to say that, but I'm going to say it anyways. There's also the seller presentation training manual here that you can download as well. This is great for agents as well. So if you wanted to walk through this with an agent that's onboarding, it's going to talk about the pre-list grab and grow brochures that we have. It's kind of a great recruiting tool for managers. So if you don't know about this, it's here too. And then the last thing I want to show you right here is seller presentation training videos. It has the listing presentation reimagined right here in a quick 21 minutes. I didn't even press play. What the heck? It's got the reimagined seller presentation. So it's a quick look at a seller presentation that we have and how it's changed and what's changed in this new presentation. So, uh-oh, what happened? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can see you and hear you.
Okay, I don't know what just happened. It just like dinged like I got signed off. Okay, sorry guys. Just making sure you can still hear and see me, because I'll just be talking away and I'll realize that nobody's listening. So this video will show you what's new, but I'm going to actually walk into what's new. But I just wanted to give this to managers and to you guys to take a peek at. Left-hand side of desk, under our prospecting tool, it's got the script, the training manual, and the video if you want to take a peek at it. And then again, it has the pre-listing presentations in Spanish and English that you can download too. So if we click on this, let's click on the pre-listing presentation in English, and I'll show you what this is. So this would be obviously before you go to your listing presentation. You could print this out and give this to somebody. A lot of people always ask me for things that they have, like that we have that are tangible that they can hand out to somebody. Like if you were doing like, I know there's a lot of holiday events coming up. So if you're like at a booth or a Christmas parade, or you decided to do like a tent or something, this would be a great thing for you to print and have. It tells you why Caldwell Banker, talks about why we're leading the way. A lot of these are in the seller presentation, but this is just a how many page? A 15-page little synopsis that you can talk through. It has internet marketing. It talks through our online impact. It gives online marketing results. Talks about buyer targeting, right? So it's just a really great couple like one-sheeters, as you don't have to have all 15 sheets in here if you don't want to. It also gives our Revitalize program. And these are items that are in the listing presentation, but this is a great way to have that conversation if someone's thinking about buying or selling and want to interview you. This is a leave behind that you could give them to hold on to and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, when I come back, I'm going to have a more organized presentation that's also going to have a CMA attached to it for your home, as well as we're going to dive into each and everything that I'm going to be able to offer you as your agent. So just keep that in mind. And again, it comes in Spanish. And then it comes in horizontal or vertical. So if you do want to add it into the beautiful machine that we have with the beautiful covers at the office, you could do that too. And then they also have sample grab and go pre-listing trifold brochures. So these are great too. You can order some that are customized like this that you're seeing right here on Express Stock. So this is showing you a sample. So if you want something that's branded to you, so maybe that other one is great, but you're like, Brittany, I want them to be remembered to call me and not just any Caldwell Banker agent. You can go into an Express Stocks and you can actually personalize these with your name and information on. And it's a trifold that talks about, where buyers are, marketing your home, our full service report, our proven powerful personal, why we lead the way, our internet marketing, our social media, and online marketing that gets results. So these are great things to have for the holidays. Heck, maybe you need to put one of these in each of your presents as you start giving these to your friends and family so they remember that you're a real estate professional, because who's the first people to forget? It's our friends and family. So these are good things. Maybe you could send these out with your holiday cards, another idea, as we gear up for the holidays. So just wanted to give you some information and resources for the managers as well as the agents. Take a look at this prospecting tab. There's some great little nuggets here for you. And again, I do get a lot of questions from you guys about the FSBO and seller first letter. They're here right for you to download. It downloads into a Word doc that you can edit. So you can put your information in, and here you go. You've got something that's already written, and you can just put your custom flair on it. So trying to give you some really great resources for you to continue to get out there and prospect so we can get more listings and win the competition that we have going. So without further ado, let's go into the actual listing presentation that's been reimagined. Again, everything starts on desk, and we're going to find that Moxi Works tab on desk. I already have it open right here. So I'm going to actually ghost as one of my agents just because I don't have the MLS. So I am going to ghost as Mr. Wes Payne because he gave me permission last time. So I'm going to do it again. The permission is granted for this tool time. So we're going to create a listing presentation for Wes Payne for his upcoming listing that he has on My House. So we'll use My House as an example. So again, in Moxi, when you drop in, you've got your homepage. Up at the top is where you fumble through the different programs within Moxi. So we have Present, Engage, My Website, and Impress. So again, we've touched on Engage, My Website, and Impress. So the last thing we get to do is Present. So I'm going to click on that bad boy, and it's going to drop me into our listing presentation page not found. Okay, I'm not going to click on that thing. Let's go back. Of course. Why would it be found? Oh, man. Let's see. If this is down today, y'all, we're going to be in some trouble. All right, let me close out of everything and go back in and see if that helps. Sorry. It seems like anytime I try to show you guys something, it just decides to poop out on me. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, go back into Moxi. Tried to have it all ready to go. Look what happens. Okay, let's get in this program. Let's make sure it works. Let's try this other one and see if maybe just didn't like me being in the other account. Man, I am striking out with Moxi. Okay. Keep going. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second to get this up. Okay, here we go. So I'm in my other profile. Let's see if it lets me do it in this other one. So let me switch to Wes Payne. Wes, it's okay if I'm in your account, right?
Of course, it's all good. It helps me learn even more. Lost you for, I can't hear you. What'd you say?
So what did you say? Sorry, my dogs decided to attack one another.
Oh yeah. I said, yeah, it's easier because it helps me learn even faster when I'm looking at myself.
Good. I like it. Okay.
Seems like I lost your audio. I can't hear your audio.
I
Has
can't hear you
any-
either.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it keeps going in and out.
Okay. Has anyone tried to be in present today? Because it looks like it might be down. Or is it just me? Can one of you guys jump in and see if it's just me? Or if it's the program? Because then we're going to pivot to something else. So I don't waste your time on tool time.
I'll check.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm going to try again. Let me try just being me and see if it works. I just won't have the MLS. You guys see what I'm dealing
I got
with?
the error message too.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
So it must be down. Okay. All right. Well, that means we're going to have to table present for next week. I just gave you a really great intro to Moxi Present. And what we'll do is we'll just do it next. Wait, just kidding. Okay. All right. I don't have MLS, so mine's going to look a little different, but I'm still going to walk through it with you guys. This is what it's going to look like when you drop into Moxi Present. If you do not have any presentations, like you've never been in here before, you're not going to see past ones. You can see I've worked on them. So you're seeing that I have past presentations here, sitting here. If you don't see anything, that's okay. We're going to work on one today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this create new button, this blue one, to create a new listing presentation. If you didn't already know, Moxi Present has multiple presentations within this platform. So there's a seller presentation. That's the one we're going to go over today. There's a property review. This is a new report that they launched. This is to create a personalized review of the property and compare it to current listings. So pretty much just a plain old CMA. Doesn't have any of the other fluff that we're going to have in our seller presentation. So it's not going to have things about listing concierge. It's not going to talk about the programs that Coldwell Banker offers. It's not going to talk about your marketing. It's literally just going to be your CMA. You have a buyer tour where you can guide your clients from listing to listing with a detailed buyer tour experience. I like to call this the map quest of listing concierge. The map quest of Moxi. So what it does is it maps up all the properties that you're going to go see with your potential buyer, and then they can just follow you on that map. It's actually pretty cool and it's interactive. There's a buyer presentation where you can find the perfect property for your buyer or create a CMA on potential property to see what that property will give them. And then there's a non-listing presentation. So what would you use the non-listing presentation for? Some examples are you could build out a presentation if you're working with a builder that has a bunch of PDF renderings and you want to put it in a really nice presentation to present. You could do that in a non-listing presentation because you can upload PDFs to it. You could create a non-listing presentation talking about you and your services, along with like pulling in some of the Coldwell Banker stats. If you just wanted to do like a all about me book, you could add in customer testimonials to kind of have. Or Connie usually suggests on some of her trainings, if you go and you take a lot of pictures at like your family reunion, you could upload them to the non-listing presentation and share them to your family via a link. And then it just reminds your family and friends that you're in real estate. So a couple ideas for non-listing presentations. I think the best one is those builder PDFs that you get when you're working with the builder. They usually don't look sexy and there's not a way for you to like kind of distribute them out. You can use that in the non-listing presentation. So we're going to click on the seller presentation and I'm going to hit continue. And what I'm going to do is I actually don't want broker templates. I want Coldwell Banker templates. And I want to go in and I want to find that new seller presentation. So I need to go down to, you might not see all of the different ones for all the different states. This just might be me. You might just see the Florida ones. So I apologize. We have to walk through my Florida ones or all the rest of them to find Florida. So back in the day when you would come in here and you would create a listing presentation, you could do like the 12-minute listing presentation, and you can see it had gold, meaning it would present the gold listing concierge. This new listing presentation that I'm going to show you actually has all of the listing concierge wrapped into one, so you don't have to make a decision on if you want to do gold, silver, or platinum. So let me find the new one. Okay, Florida new seller presentation. There's also the Florida pre-listing. So that was the one that we looked at on desk. So depending upon what you're doing, right? If you're doing a pre-listing or if you want to actually build out your CMA, you're going to want this new seller presentation. You can see it's 69 pages. It's a lot of pages, but we're going to go through them and we're going to weed out the ones we don't want and customize them. So I'm going to click this on and hit continue. It's going to ask for who you're preparing this presentation for. Best advice would to put for the couple or the person that you're preparing it. So like Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Mr. and Mrs. Moulton. So we'll do Mr. and Mrs. Moulton. Then normally you would have an MLS here where it's saying listing source. If you're a part of multiple MLSs, so this is for my like Navarre people who are a part of like Navarre, Pensacola, eCar, it will ask you what listing source you want to pull your CMA from. So just make sure you choose the right one depending on the area code and where that listing is. For my Pensacola people, you would just choose PAR. And then Destin and so forth, you would do eCar. So just go ahead and click that. I'm not connected to the MLS, so you're not going to see an MLS in this. So mine's going to look a little different than you. Once you hit that create button, it's going to look like nothing happened. It's going to look like it's stalled. It's preparing your presentation. I call it the ring of death. And then it's going to drop you into your presentation right here. So let's get a little bit of the lay of the land here in the presentation. So here's your home page. You've got the subject property. This is going to be the property that you are meeting with. So this would be the address of the property that you're looking to get the listing of. The search is going to be searching for other listings around that property for your CMA. The listings tab is going to give you all the listings together so you can kind of finesse them. And then you have the estimate, which is going to tell you the price depending upon the comps that it's pulling. And then the pages is going to be your listing presentation. So ever if you need to toggle back and forth between these or you accidentally press a button, just know you can always go back. These are all clickable. So in a perfect world, since I don't have an MLS number, you can normally just type in the MLS number and it'll pull through the MLS. But since number one, I don't have an MLS number and I don't have an MLS connected and it's not letting me do Wes's presentation, then what we're going to do is we're just going to like add in the address manually. You will have to add in the address manually in general because it's like if the address has never been in the MLS. So for instance, if it's a new build, they've never sold the property, they bought it as land and they built it, you're going to probably have to edit all these details because it's never been in the MLS. So just keep that in mind. You're going to want to fill out all this information. So as much as you know, more is great. If you don't have all this information, that's okay too. It doesn't hold you back from completing this. Just try to get as much as you can. And then you can see it's pulling it up on the Google map. That looks like my place. And if you have subdivision, community, elementary school, middle school, high school. And then for the subject property information, you're going to want to choose the information correctly. So let me just put in some stuff. So we have square feet, so we can move forward. Lot size, I don't even know my lot size. Lot dimensions, you can find those on the county records usually. And then again, it has features like basement, fireplace, pool, all these things that you can add. And then remarks. I just want to make you very cautious that when you do type in just like an MLS number here, so if the property that you're going to, it was in the MLS previously and you found an old MLS number, it's going to pull in the photos from the MLS and it's going to pull in the remarks. You cannot use that photo because it's not yours unless it was yours. If it was your previous listing and you own the rights to the photos, by all means, go ahead and use the photo. If it's not your listing and it's another real estate agent's, then do not use it because you do not have permission unless you've asked for permission. So either keep it as this really pretty one with the couch, or maybe snap a picture before you go to the listing and show them that you're already invested in their property. You've gone and you've taken a picture of the outside. You're doing your due diligence. So just a couple tips, or find a different photo just to upload as the cover photo. Maybe it's not this couch. Maybe find a kitchen or something, whatever you want. Then those remarks, it's going to pull in the agent remarks from the previous MLS listing. So you're going to want to delete those. Sometimes there's weird things in there like don't let the cat out. So you're going to want to go in there and edit those or remove them completely. Then it will also have the listing number and then what it sold for in the last time that it sold. So once you have all this information correct, either by pulling in the MLS or adding it in manually, depending on the property, you're going to hit that continue button. I don't want to save my address. So then this next page under the search would normally allow us to see all the listings in the area that are currently on the market or that have sold in the last 30 to 60 days, where we could come in here and we could add which ones we would want to use for comps. So since I don't have an MLS hooked up and it wasn't working on Wes's, it's going to look a little different. So imagine this page is basically going to list out all the properties that have sold, the ones that are currently on the market or the ones that are currently pending, and you will be able to click on them and add them if you want to add them to your CMA. So this is the page that you would do that. So I'm going to skip this page because I don't have an MLS. And then it would show the listings here. So once you've clicked the listings that you want to add to your CMA, here it will show your subject property, and below it will have all the other listings that you had chosen. Sometimes I get phone calls that maybe the listing that they've been looking at in the MLS for a CMA is not pulling here in Moxi. Sometimes that happens if it's on the cusp of two MLSs, or if for some reason it just isn't pulling in. You can always add a custom listing here as a comp. So all you'd have to do is click add custom listing, and it's going to pull you back a page and have you fill out all the information for that comp. So you'd have to have like, the information about them. So it'll ask for like the address, all that same thing that we just did for the subject property, but that would be for the like custom comp we're adding. So just keep that in mind. So if you're in here and you're searching comps and you're not finding like the perfect comps and you know that there are some because you've already pulled a CMA in the MLS, you can add a custom comp here. Normally it's gonna have multiple ones here, right? So you have multiple comps here and it'll give you a listing summary, which will take an average price to kind of give you an idea of what you should be pricing this property at to see if the price that you had in your head matches what is kind of going on in the area. You can also add and edit adjustments on those comps. So once you've added them to this page, let's pretend one got hit by a tornado the other day. It's in your comps just for the comp value, but we know that it's not the same value as it was, or if it got a new roof or it got a new pool and you need to edit the adjustment in that manner, positive or negative, you can do that to edit your comps. You can also remove the comp if it's not, once you get to this page and you see them all side by side, maybe it's one that you just don't want to include, you can just exit out of it like this and remove the comp. So once you kind of have your comps in order the way you want, obviously you would have more than 0. I don't have any on this listing because I don't have an MLS, but you would want to have probably anywhere between 4 to 7. Or 3 to 7. Some agents, have a sweet spot. Get with your manager. I'm not licensed, so I can't really speak to the number. But if you have any more questions that are more in depth about comps and how to really get the best comp, speak with your manager. And then you're going to hit continue, and it's going to take you to the estimated pricing calculator. So normally it would have a price broken down for you here and give you a suggestion. You can either keep that suggestion here, or you can leave it blank. Maybe you haven't been inside the house yet, and maybe they're a stage 5 quarter, and that property is not going to be worth what you thought it was going to be worth. So depending upon what you want to put here, you can either put nothing, you can put a range. Range is really popular in California. When we sold our house, sidebar, it was a range, and I had never seen that before, and I haven't really seen it here in Florida, but you can do a range if you want, or you can put a price, or you can put 0 price. If you end up putting a price, you can also put your remarks just to kind of tell them why you priced their property at what you did. So once you have your comps all ready to go, there is also an estimated net proceeds. So you can get this sheet from your title company if you want, or the mortgage company. A lot of agents skip this just because they don't really know all this information to really give them an accurate report. I would say this would be something you would probably want to do after you get the listing agreement, so you can kind of walk them through net proceeds, but that's just my suggestion. Again, you're going to hit continue, and it's going to take you to all the pages that you have in your listing presentation. So it starts with this Coldwell Banker Realty white page. If you're using the beautiful folders that we have that you can heat bind at the offices, you don't need this first page. It's kind of obsolete, so you can always remove it. It's just kind of adding another page. It's a duplicate. So I'm going to remove that. And you can see I just exited out of it and it removed the page. On the left-hand side here, you can also drag and it'll change the placement of the page. So for instance, I'm going to move Why Call a Banker below my agent profile. So when they first open this presentation, the first thing I want them to see is my agent profile and why they're choosing me. So you can see I don't have my agent profile complete. It should have information about you, like your bio. Mine isn't in here because I'm internet sales in Moxi, so it doesn't let me put a bio, but normally it should have your picture, your information, and a small bio. The second page is going to be Why Call a Banker. It's going to look a little familiar because it was in that pre-listing presentation we looked at on desk. There's list your house with confidence. And it takes a minute to load. These are all the brand new slides that they just loaded into the listing presentation. They've updated the pictures. They've added different language. I think it just looks really refreshed, and it looks really, really professional. Proven success. So there's a lot of fluff in here, right? So there's Why Call a Banker, list with your home with confidence, proven success, proven power, personal. Maybe you don't want all these, right? Maybe you only want a few. You can take them out if you want them out, or you can leave them all in. It's totally up to you. Some agents love to have more. Some agents are like, nah, I'm going to lose them at slide 3. I only need 10 slides. Okay. So you're going to come in here and you're going to find your favorite 10 slides. That's totally up to you, but it's got some really cool statistics that they've updated recently. So anyway, so I'm going to go through these. Global reach is going to talk about our reach as a company, since we are global and that we're in different countries all over the world. Then it walks through your local reach. So it's going to talk about Florida and local reach in Florida, where we have all of our offices in Florida. So maybe that's obsolete for you. I think that's an important statistic to know that we're local. I think real estate is local, and I think it's really, really important to talk about that. We're number one in Florida, so we've got a number one stat here in the state of Florida. This is a great one to keep in. I think it's a really great graph to show why we lead in the state of Florida. And then you can see it's got number one in $1 million sales as well. You might want to keep that one in. And then it's got Miami, Northwest Florida, Orlando, Sarasota, and Southwest Florida and Tampa. So this is the Florida presentation. So it's representing all of the regions in Florida. So we're obviously not going to want the Miami and Dade and Broward. So I'm going to remove that from our presentation. I'm going to obviously want to keep the number one in Northwest Florida because we're in Northwest Florida, and that's an important stat to have. If you can also see that they also have updated the pictures that really look local. That was one thing that a lot of agents complained about at the old listing presentation. It was kind of stale because the pictures just weren't local looking. It looked like it was South Florida. That looks like it could be, Northwest Florida. I'm going to take out this Orlando one. I'm also going to take out the Sarasota one in the Southwest Florida in Tampa, because I don't need this in my presentation unless you're working on a presentation for down there. You really don't need those. They're obsolete. Then it's going to walk into positioning your property. Why, when you choose Coldwell Banker, are you going to get the most out of your property being sold and what you're going to get with a CV agent? So it's going to talk about where we're going to position the property to get it sold and get the most eyes and exposure on the property. So you can see they've updated this picture. I think this is a really nice, appealing picture. That is one thing I can say that they did right on these new listing presentation, is they really came in here and enhanced the graphics that were alongside them. Then you've got maximizing your selling price. So this talks about revitalize. This is a really great slide to keep in your presentation. I would encourage everyone to keep it in your presentation. Revitalize is a really great campaign that we are the only company that offers Revitalize. This is part of the reason why I think Coldwell Banker just does it right? We have these programs that allow for the sellers to get the maximum price for their listings. So it shows you a before and after of what Revitalize did for this property. And then it talks about what we can do for projects that might include some of the things that the listing that you're sitting in might need to get the most bang for their buck. Then it's going to go into photography and our 360 marketing. That's going to be listing concierge. So the photography is wrapped into listing concierge. So it's going to talk about the professional photographer that you're going to hire through the listing concierge package on desk. You've got your 360 marketing plan. So it'll talk through what we're going to do to get this property sold and how we're going to position it in the market to really push it out there. So it talks about the agent promotion, to the open houses, to the yard sign, to online and social media, video, email marketing, print advertising, and TV advertising. And that is all encompassed in with Listing Concierge. So just keep that in mind. It's going to give you some home buyers and why they use the internet, and how some stats that are kind of astounding that really talk about why it's super imperative that if you're listing your home that you're going to have that online presence. And it gives you some really great stats here. So 95% of home buyers use the internet. So we give them the online exposure, and that would be through your Listing Concierge, as well as through ColdwellBankerHomes.com and ColdwellBanker.com when you list with us. We're the number one brand online. That is a great stat. This is just showing you that we lead in all of the brands. We have the most exposure. We have the best campaigns. The online exposure that your property is going to get, where it's syndicated to, you can see through ColdwellBankerHome.com, ColdwellBanker.com, Home Finder, Homes, Realtor, Trulia, and Zillow. So just showing you where, when you list with us, your home is going to be syndicated to. The single property website is obviously through Listing Concierge. So when you go through Listing Concierge, you have that single property website. Doesn't matter what package you have, the bronze package even has the single property website. So great one. And again, you can see there's a ton of slides in here and it's overwhelming. So you are going to want to come in here and exit out the ones you're not going to want to use or you just think are kind of redundant. I kind of think the single property one is redundant because it's talking about it in the 365 marketing, but that's up to you. It's just giving you that ability to have more collateral. Buyer targeting, so it's showing you how we're going to target people through CB buyer tool on desk, how we find the correct buyers. Then you have buyer profile intelligent, buyer profile map, social media. 87% rely on agents. So let's look at the social media one. This is a good one. I do like this one. And some of these things you're not going to do, right? Maybe you don't use the CBX buyer locator. So that would be one that you would want to remove. Maybe you're not going to use CB exclusives. So we'll talk about CB exclusive here in a moment. So here is the buyer profile map. So since I'm not pulling from the MLS, it doesn't really have any information. Well, maybe it does. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is cool. Okay, so it is pulling in, which is really nice. So it's saying matches for 266 Carrington Lakes Boulevard. The most matches are coming from Jacksonville, Florida. So we've seen in the statistics as people have moved from place to place that my highest match is going to be in Jacksonville, Florida. So median age of residents are 40 years old. Median time to commute 46 minutes. Homes with children 24%. Average family size 3. Total population and families. Average education, top media types, TV, prime TV, and radio, favorite radio format. So it gives you ways to target them. So if you're looking to target people in specific ways, like when I sit down with you and we talk about maybe a high profile property and you're like, Brittany, I really need some help on what do I need to focus on in targeting. You can see here there's no social media on here. Their top media types that they consume, their behaviors are showing TV, primetime TV, and radio. So you might want to think differently when you're advertising this property alongside listing concierge. Maybe you need to put out a radio ad, or maybe you need to put out a primetime TV ad or a YouTube streaming ad. So it gives you some really great data here. So this is a great tool to use. Your favorite radio format, it'll tell you urban, contemporary urban, urban subset, favorite TV format, football specials, professional football weekend, early morning. So it gives you a way to really match. So if I zoom in on this map, let me scroll down. Boop, it's going to show you Jacksonville versus over here. And then you can see up here at the color coordinating, buyer profile match, likeliest to buy, highest match, and then it goes to the lowest match. So it's showing a lot of people in Jacksonville are likely to switch. So kind of some really great data. So I would say definitely keep this one. One thing I haven't called out is you can see how all of these are interactive and a lot of you guys don't send these, you actually print them. So if you want to view this as a eye of it being printed, you're going to want to change your view settings. Right now, my view settings are at web settings. So if I was going to print this and I wasn't going to email this to a client, this is what the buyer profile would look like. It's not as interactive, obviously, but it does still have that data. And it will also talk to you about a couple other things like favorite radio, lifestyle intentions, number of real estate searches, most frequently online, email. So there's another great stat you can see there if you're not sending out email blasts about your listings, something that you probably should think about. Used instant messenger, made a purchase for personal use. Most visited website, Amazon's, Gmail, and weather.com. And if you didn't know that our HomeSpotter Boost is partnering with weather.com, so your ad is actually shown on weather.com when you do a listing concierge order and a HomeSpotter Boost. It's shown not only on social media, but it is also showcased on weather.com. So that's a great thing to kind of look at. So that's what it would look like if we were printing it. Again, you can toggle between print and web. Why would you want to do a web view? Well, a lot of agents actually like to take their tablet and walk through it on an iPad. Some of the time you don't even get to meet the person, right? They're out of state and you do a Zoom call. So you would want to send it to them. Or some agents like to send it to their sellers after they've signed a listing agreement so they have it on file and they send them the web view. Just totally up to you. Some people like to do it printed. Some people like to do it both. Totally up to you and your style. So let's go back to the web view because I like the web view better, just to kind of show you because it's more interactive. So a CB exclusive, I said I was going to come back and touch on this. So we have what's called CB exclusive. There's two things that we have. We have a sneak peek, and then we also have CB exclusives. Sneak peek is going to be before it hits the MLS. We can hit, or before it's live in the MLS. We can actually put it on our database to our internal database through Caldwell Banker, and people can see it as early as 3 days before it hits the MLS if it's on a Friday. So we can do that. The other thing that we have is CB exclusives where you don't put it in the MLS, you just keep it for a Caldwell Banker to look. It's a separate thing that you have to sign when you're doing your paperwork. So get with your manager about that, but you can keep it as an internal listing, meaning only Caldwell Banker agents from around the world can see the CB exclusives. So you would want to do that maybe on higher profile properties. Famous people like to do that a lot of times. Just depends on your client. Email marketing. So email marketing is going to talk about the email marketing you get through Listing Concierge, and also the update that goes out to the agents in Listing Concierge. If you're going to do a broker open house, there is a slide on that. If you're not going to do a broker open house, then you're going to want to exit that bad boy out. There's 53% attend open houses. So if you're thinking about doing an open house for this particular listing, you'll want to come in here and make sure you have this open house in your presentation. If you're not, then exit out that one. So I just wanted to walk you through what this looks like. At the end of this, when we get through kind of the fluff of Caldwell Banker, you're going to see the property summary, the listing location map, the listing overview, the side-by-side comparisons. That's going to be your CMA. So all right here is going to be your CMA at the end of your presentation. If you want to bring that to the top, you can, or I like to keep it for the end because I think, everybody wants to talk about money, but you have to kind of wait to talk about money. So up to you how you want to position this. Again, these are all movable by just clicking and moving. One thing we haven't talked about is how to add a custom page. So let me show you how to do that. So if I hit add custom page, I can either add from our library. So maybe there's other pages and different presentations I want to bring in. For instance, there's a whole recruitment campaign in Moxi. So for my managers on the call, you have a recruiting Moxi presentation that you can come in here and create, and maybe you want to add like your own flair to it by adding some of these in there just to kind of show the agents like our listing concierge and walking through that. So let's create a new page and let's build a page. So you can either upload PDFs. I've already talked about that a little bit when I told you about builders, working with builders. But let's just build out a custom page. So it's going to give you a layout by choosing a grid layout. And you're going to want to choose between web view or print view, depending on how you're going to give this to your client. So we'll do web view. And you can either choose just a 1 box or a 2 box. So let's click this and create. Let's just pretend Wes wanted to put his recipes on here and put 2 videos in here to send to his potential client and say, hey, here's some recipes I want to share with you. Or maybe it's an intro video to get to know Wes and a recipe. So there's a lot of things that you can do. All you got to do is click on the video and you'll paste the URL to your YouTube video. So you can either use YouTube, Vimeo, or Dailymotion. I'll be honest with you, Vimeo and Dailymotion obsolete. Stick with YouTube. You should have a YouTube channel. It'll keep you in the habit of doing it. You can also add an image. So if you wanted to add a picture, you could add a picture. We do a presentation in Moxi called a appraiser's package, where you could add pictures of the home that you think the appraiser should take a look at. And it's obviously you're not swaying the appraiser, but you're giving them information that maybe they might overlook, and it gives them to it at their fingertips. You can add a text header. So if you just wanted to write, get to know Brittany and it's 2 videos about me. Or maybe you've sold properties in that neighborhood and you're the expert. So you can put like Carrington Lake subdivision and put the 2 properties that you sold and the pricing. So maybe you sold $20,000 over asking price or sold in 5 days, right? You could do a showcase of the listings you've done in that neighborhood. So just some ideas that you have there. I'm going to exit out of here because I don't want to save this. So let me show you how to print it, and then I'll go into questions. So again, depending, obviously, if you're going to be printing it, you're going to need the print view. You're not going to want to print on the web view. For the web, if you wanted to send it, you would just click send, and it'll send them it in a email. So you can either send it as a presentation that's a live link or a PDF in a portrait. If you're sending it, it's going to look a lot better in the presentation format where they can click all the live links. The PDF is going to be really for printing. So if we're going to print this bad boy right here, we're just going to take it to, sorry, the dogs are really not happy today. Let's do print view. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and click the view, print portrait. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, fun fact, we used to live in San Diego on a hill that had coyotes. So I have 2 huge dogs that think they're coyotes when they bark. So that's what the howling comes into. So I apologize. So for printing, if you didn't see what I did, what I ended up doing is I ended up pressing the view and print portrait. And what it's doing is it's generating a PDF for me to be able to print at the office. So this is how you would print it. You could either save it to your desktop and go back and print it at the office when you get to the office, or you can print it right here, right now. Once it downloads, it's going to take a little while because it is 69 pages. So my computer is going to take a minute to print it. So we'll let that load. And then again, if you want to send it through the web, then you can either just send them this link right here, or you can email them directly by clicking send. So you've got a linked presentation here, right here, or you have a PDF that you can print. So multiple ways to send this to your potential client. You could do both ways if you want to. Some agents especially I've heard a lot of managers say, don't leave your hard work, right? So especially your CMA, don't leave that if you don't sign the listing presentation when you do the presentation and they want to think about it. You don't want them to take it to another agent and show them and say, hey, this is what Wes from Coldwell Banker is going to do for me. What can you do for me? So don't let them steal your hard work. So the link is going to look like this. When the presentation is ready, you can just scroll through it and it's going to be live and interactive. It loads a lot better here than it did on my screen. And it'll show you it's got 59 pages here. It's got all of my information so they know who they're looking at. And then again, this PDF, once it downloads, is going to be for you to be able to print and bind at the office. Couple other housekeeping things real quick while that's loading. Uh-oh, did my share screen go away? I don't know, did it? Hold on. Technical difficulties today. Can you see it now? Was there only one person paying attention? Can you see it now? Hello?
I can see it now.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so where did you stop seeing it so I can go back and walk you through it?
After you came back from the dogs, you
Oh,
were
okay.
showing a link.
After they were howling? Okay, perfect. That gives me a good spot. So if you want to send it, thank you so much. You can click the send button, but what I also did was I opened the Moxi Present here in a link. So if you wanted to just send them a link, you can link it. And how you would do that is by just clicking view and web, and it open it up in a link. And then I downloaded it here so that you can go ahead and print it at the office and put it in the nice folders that we have provided by Coldwell Banker to heap bind them. So give you a couple options on how you might want to send it. Other couple little housekeeping things I wanted to show you. Under more, you can share this with a person internally. So if you're working like as a co-presenter, if you're having like a co-listing, or if you have a TC or someone that's maybe your assistant, you can actually assign it to that person so they can come in here and they can edit the presentation. And then last thing I want to show you is at the bottom here, it says you can save this as a template. So if this is like your presentation, you've done a lot of work on this, you've got all the pages the way you want, it's organized correct, you can save it as a template so you can come in here and just change the CMA and it'll save it as like your template. So you don't have to go through this every single time. You've already done the legwork. It's just adding that CMA that's different each and every time. So I apologize for the technical difficulties. That's technology. We just roll with it. And then I also apologize for my wolf dogs who decided to bark. But does anyone have any questions about Moxi Present? Let me exit. See if there's any more questions in the chat that maybe I missed. Okay. Moxi percent is working fine in Sarasota. I guess it's all those listings up in Northwest Florida has clogged it up. Did your stream okay? It's back. Cool. All right. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but does anyone have any questions about Moxi Present? No, you guys are a quiet bunch today, besides my dogs.
Hmm.
Wes, do you have a question?
No, this one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, Moxi Present's probably my favorite thing to do a class on because it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. If you guys could put in the chat anything that you guys want to see upcoming in tool time, we've finished out Moxi. So obviously Moxi is not the only tool that we have on desk, but it would be nice to hear maybe what you would like to see. If it's not something I haven't already done, I would love to get suggestions on a tool that maybe you're struggling with or just want to find more information about. If you could put that in the chat, that would be awesome. And I will see you guys next tool time. But in the meantime, I hope that you guys have a great day and you're out there getting listings, and you can always call me if you need anything.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, Wes. Thanks for always letting me use your stuff.
Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you. Hope your floor duty goes well.
Thanks.